Welcome back. I hope you're having a fantastic day. It is Friday, March 4th of 2022, and it is about 20 minutes till the close of the U.S. stock exchange, and investors are de-risking going into the weekend here. This is Bitcoin on the daily, down right now, testing that $40,000, $39,000 range to see what kind of continuation we're looking at. Looking at the markets, the Dow is down 370 points. About 1%. S&P is down 1.3%. NASDAQ's taking the biggest hit today, down 2.18%. And we had a good jobs report, and we had Chair Powell talk this week, and he reassured the markets he's not going to be too hard on them, especially given the situation that we're in right now with a potential global conflict in the making. And that's one of the reasons investors are de-risking going into the weekend. If something happens, if things escalate, investors want to be risk off. So watch and see how the markets close. Again, the momentum into the close will tell you a lot of what is going on. And the one thing that the markets are even thinking about too is if we have a strong jobs report, we're going to get an inflation print next week. And then we have potential, even more potential higher inflation if the world does ban Russian oil. Obviously that will increase energy costs around the world, which I think everybody is willing to suffer through to get rid of Putin and to shut them down. So that's something that the markets are weighing in as much higher inflation in the short term, meaning the Fed is going to have to act. They're going to have to do something because inflation is going to get out of control. And that was the biggest topic that they questioned Powell about this week. So we'll find out where they stand and what they're actually going to do. But again, all eyes are on the situation in Ukraine, as well as inflation and market conditions as a whole. So let's take a look at Bitcoin here. And we've been tracking this trend line, and whether or not Bitcoin was going to test this trend line and get a bounce. And as you can see, it broke through. So we were looking for retracement. The bounce would have given us potential retracement. The fact that it broke through means now we have potential for more downside. And where is that downside going to be? How far down is it going to go? So the real question is, in terms of that, let's get this trend line going here. And we've been watching this trend line right here. Last couple of videos, kind of keeping an eye on this. Market structure for these wick lows right now, and it looks like Bitcoin wants to head down and touch this again. We've already hit it twice. So the question is, will this break down on the third time and then go back after this macro low at $29,000? So that's the big question. If Bitcoin bounces here, then you could see a retrace and a rebound, and market could continue to go into that retracement, or if it breaks through here, then it's definitely going to go down and recheck that $30,000 level to see if that holds. And again, a lot of that's going to depend on what the Fed does next week and what the world does in response to this situation in Ukraine right now, the war in Ukraine, and whether or not that escalates and becomes a massive global conflict. And that other model that we've been watching, the fractal from over here of 2018 bear market, with this whole area here looking for a retrace. I think the model has now deviated with this drop today. But again, conditions are different, they're unique, but interesting nonetheless in price action. So here's something I've been looking at. So the last couple of videos, we have been tracking this whole area here and how price is just kind of somewhat following this pattern here, retracing that down move all the way up into this range, and then retracing back again. Didn't quite get back up to that 45.7, 45.8 range of the high of this little range. 45.3 was as far as we got. So the question is, this low here was 33,000. This low was 34,000. So is this low going to come back down a little bit higher than this area right here? The other thing that's interesting is the timing of all this. And if you take a look at what's been going on here the last few weeks, this first drop here back on January 17th, that's a Wednesday. So you can see Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, what's going on here into the weekend. You can see this drop here, February 16th, that's a Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday into the weekend. And what do we have today? This started March 2nd, which is a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we've got this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday into the weekend kind of price pattern playing out twice now. So the question is, are we going to bottom, which would have been a Sunday, it looks like. So that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we're going to bottom on a Sunday this time, just like we did, and rebound a little bit and then get a pop back up and kind of retrace this whole move here. So that's the big question that we're looking at right now. Let's take a look at price on the weekly, and you can kind of see what's going on the weekly, and just kind of in this range right here, and more particularly kind of consolidating in this lower range. So potentially kind of like price was doing over here, it was consolidating for several weeks in that range of about 30,000 to 41,000. Now the range is 33,000, excuse me, to 45,000. So it could continue to plug along here for a little while, kind of testing these lower levels and bouncing back up until we get a little bit more certainty, kind of figure out what's going on. And if you look at the bear market of 2018, you kind of had the same thing going on in ranges from 6,000 all the way up to 11,000, kind of bouncing around until price decided it had that last retracement and then decided to roll over. So this is kind of an area potentially that we could be looking at here. Same kind of situation going on here in the weekly in terms of price action. And then again, the big thing to watch for reversal are the daily or weekly moving averages. We're below that 50-week moving average. Price had come up and tried to test it. It's been rejected. So now we're headed down to the 100-week. If that breaks, then the 200 weekly moving average is generally where market will touch the bottom. And that is your buy signal. If price comes back down to that 200 weekly moving average, that's generally been the best areas to buy, is in and around and sometimes below those areas, depending on what's going on. This is March of 22. If you look at this on the daily, same thing. Price is now lost the 50-day moving average. We're still below the 200, the 100, rejected off the 100, went down and just broke right through this 50-day moving average. And those are key moving averages that you always want to see price stay above. You can see it bounced off the 50 here. And we have examples where prices kind of played with that 50-day, lost it, went down to the 100, came back up in the bull market. And in bear markets, when you come down back in 2018, we see where price loses the 50-day and just kind of bounces around with these averages all the way down. But kind of in this area that we're at right now, if price loses that, sometimes it can go down and test that 200-day and it'll check that 50 and that 100-day along the way. So weekly is a better indication of these averages, but in general, you want to be above all daily moving averages. And right now, price has lost the daily moving averages. Ethereum is kind of in the same shape as are the altcoins when it comes to price action right now. And retracing, again, we've been looking at that move on Bitcoin, just kind of retracing this whole move here in the last couple of weeks. Altcoins all seem to be doing the exact same thing, kind of retracing that whole range that we've been in for the last couple of weeks. The question is, where are they going to come back to? Are they going to come back to this, February 24th area? Or are they going to come back and test these late January lows that were put in? This is Solana here, kind of testing that little area. A lot of support and resistance through this area. Last bottom was around 75. So question is Solana going to come back down to that area, or is it going to get hung up around $85? And a lot of the altcoins kind of doing the same thing. They're all kind of hanging over the cliff there. This was interesting. Proppy, I showed a image of Proppy yesterday. Proppy kind of went on a little bit of a ride yesterday and just popped up about 40% out of nowhere, and then immediately retraced and is all the way back down again. So interesting how some of these coins have been popping off here and there, just randomly out of nowhere. Price kind of consolidated for a while, and then all of a sudden just went and it immediately reversed. So pretty interesting times right now. A lot of capital rotation going on between traditional markets and Bitcoin. And of course, the question was, Bitcoin had decoupled the other day away from markets. The question was it going to serve more as a store of value and a hedge in uncertain times? Or was that simply just a surge from short coverings right in here and liquidations and things like that? Maybe a little bit of a surge of people jumping into Bitcoin over around the world to kind of protect some assets and get out of the country. And then now that whole thing is unwinding. So kind of an interesting little dome pattern going on here. You can go look throughout price action. We were kind of tracking it right over here, and it seems to be right on line with that. A lot of support right now in this area. So we'll have to see if it can hold up and how things shape out. So these are the things that I'm looking at. If something occurs over the weekend, I'll pop up and do another video update. But right now, again, watch the market into the close. That will give you an idea of what investors are thinking. If there's downside momentum into the close or upside momentum in the close, it kind of gives you an idea of how investors are thinking. And I think it's risk off for the weekend, a lot going on and a lot of uncertainty out there. So have a great weekend. Be safe. I hope you're doing well, and I will see you in the next video.